or anything. My name is Miles. It's my turn to show my presentation. And so without further ado, I give you Simulacra and Simulation, the implosion of meeting in the media. My opponent... Well, it appears the stage has been erected. The work of Mr. Jean Baudrillard is indeed something to be respected among 20th century philosophical and media identity theorem. His statements upon meaning and messaging in the media indulge in the differentiation and understanding of media and anti-media, having to do with radio and pirate radio. For those of you guys reading this, you know, that's how he starts off in the beginning, talking about, well, one of my favorite things I like to talk about, that's discernment. Discerning different technologies and well, utilities that we use for communicating and sending out the messages. You know, that's how we do it. That's how we keep it real as these students of such anyways, information and signification is the second most powerful criteria among Mr. Baudrillard's scholarly work. And the value of meaning is something that is absolutely important in what I'm going to be discussing about in this one. And finally, we have the acceleration of meaning, which is the overall determination of the meaning and the message, and it's by the social effect. And is it really something to be trusted within us as the audience that determines the overall commodity of this of the success that we are exposed to? The distortion of meaning among Mr. Baudrillard's work has to do with more on the lines of information, the value and devalue of information, and the obscurity of its content. You know, how we interpret this stuff is of our own thinking. It reminds us on how everyone's got a different mind, how we perpetuate different things. Did we think like that episode of, do we understand like how funny that one episode of Seinfeld was, or if there was like another thing to it that we found it funny, or, you know, there's so many examples that I myself watch a lot of TV, and oh man, I'm a magician when it comes to this stuff, but really, when we talk about from Baudrillard's perspective, he gets really serious about it, man. The implication of attaching a myth and identity among our beliefs and our associations of events or symbolisms that we try to use to make sense of our own lives. It's just a logic that that's just a human logic that we've been doing for quite a long time now. I think pretty much since forever. But then there's where we get to the idea that what are we sending out here? Is this stuff really even, you know, the cream of the crop? How are we getting it around here? You see, Baudrillard hits the bullseye right here. When we talk about the implosion of meaning and its content and form. We're gonna break this down right now, man. Nothing. It's nothing compared to what he's about to employ next. And that, my friends, is a build-up that we've been looking into for a long time now. I think like just about a week. Medium as the vessel. It's true, my friends. It's true. The proposed medium is what sources our beliefs. Tells it like it is right there. I mean, when we walked into our little sit down with Marshall McLuhan on that Playboy interview, I don't know why it was Playboy. Ultimately, it had nothing to do with it. But yeah, these two go hand in hand with each other. You see, without the medium, well, we ultimately have no reason to continue growing or thinking. How are we supposed to get information out to the audience, out to the people that are being raised in this generation among the actions and statements of other human beings, unless unless word gets out? You know, the medium in the medium technology is it's so important. It's like, you know, you can't get the fresh milk without the cow. How much more simple is it going to be than that, you know? And it's when we look at it, it's so much more important because recently we talked about branding culture. Branding culture. The thing where we see all the gorgeous people, the models, they're like, you know, with all the makeup on, all those Dove commercials that we saw, you know, how they get around? Billboard advertising. That's the medium. That's how we do things here. You know, it's all basic stuff. But what comes next? Do we have coming here right now? The entwinement of it all, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where Gene Baudrillard gets to the thick of it. The hyper reality. The projection of how we associate our own vision of the world and ourselves in order to make better sense of it. Perhaps on an entertaining scale or a more serious way for us to help, you know, give association to natural events that become a major statement in our lives. It's through like what we see, you know, from day to day to what is absolutely projected out there in the media. Obviously, this channels back to one of our very early readings, like that short introduction to simulacra and simulation. The interjection of hyperreality is, as it is referenced in this reading, a dual challenge. We come to a fork in the road where we gotta decide which side are we gonna, you know, have more fun with in life. We gotta give an identity and an implication of our own creativity to something, you know, we see all the time. It's just gotta have some style. That's why people go to Disneyland. That's why I went to Akihabara in Japan like over the summer, and it was awesome. And it was hyper reality all over the place. People dressed up in costumes. People promoted. Oh man, you wouldn't believe what they promote out there on a very large scale. And which brings us also to subculture. Baudrillard's hyperreality having to do with the subculture is a great reference to what Hebdige, the guy Hebdige was working on with the rock and roll type stuff, and it also implies to, I think it was Karl Marx. Karl Marx. I'm not even gonna break the fourth wall. I'm just gonna put my chips on that bed and say it was Karl Marx that came up with the commodity form that brings us on to that labor of subjectness that determines our overall labor effect and that greatness that we had right there. And so we come to Baudrillard's giant implication of fascination and paradox, the meaning and counter meaning of what we face as a potential phobia, if I may. The meaning implies the horizon and the event, the place of meaning. And with the hyperconformist simulation that Baudrillard puts together, the maximum production of meaning, it invites an invitation of keeping our guard up, maintaining our overall discernment of the discipline of keeping everything in order It's something like that, pretty much. Yeah, I think that's where it was going with it. Making sure we do that, because without that, there's this thing called counter meaning, and that's a mass manipulation of our minds, of how we see opponents like terrorists, and the propagation of crazy organizations that either just want your money or just want you to contribute to some maniacal movement. That invites propaganda, which has been a long-running term we've been talking about in the readings right here, and it also implies to that the classmate that came up with, I'm so sorry, man, I can't remember your name right now, but we'll get to you later. The classmate that came up with the Freud presentation, the perpetration of the unconscious mind. That's gonna go. You see, if you're not guarding your mind, those guys are gonna go after you, and they're gonna put stuff in it because you're just too lazy, or you just don't have a bigger enough hyper reality of your own to get a better sense of reality yourself. And you know, you just gotta keep your mind going independently, and because what Baudrillard is talking about with this catastrophic resolution is that these guys, they're just going to come over here, they're just going to fill your head with so much nonsensical stuff that you're not going to be able to tell right from wrong, and that's going to be a very sad day where everyone starts when that just happens to us all. So I want to jump in and conclude with this great time I've had with you guys and Jeannie Beanie with these few questions. Question 1. What effect do you think the media has on our ability to think and act independently? Does meaning play an important role for you? What inspires you, pretty much? You know, what do you think has been a great source of information that you've looked to through the media and the medium? Question number 2. And I want to be more specific, like if you have like a favorite experience of the media, like having a favorite celebrity or something, like someone inspires you pretty much. Do you believe our generation has a greater ability to discern propaganda or terrorist messaging in the mediums that we use today? And this is an optional one. Do you see gravitation to hyperreality to serve a positive purpose among society? But I will leave that as an option for you to do. Thanks for having me over here, everybody. Having me in your houses, in your dorm rooms. Marco DeSeries, I will see you again very soon in cyberspace. And I am out now because this is just way too long. Bye-bye.